Right, here we go. This afternoon I'm about to put my Kitchen Maid up, and the Kitchen Maid I'm on about comes packaged. There's the box, cast iron Kitchen Maid. You can see a picture of it there, look. So that's what I'm putting up. Just the thing I want for Hedgehog Cottage. So what we've got in the box, we've got 5 lats. This is the 5-foot version, by the way. I know there's only 4 there, but I've got one on the mantelpiece for measuring purposes. But you get the wooden lats, and in another box, as the other box, comes with the pulleys. These are the cast iron pulleys. You can get the nylon ones as well if you want, but for this particular 5-foot version I need two of the main pulleys plus one for the taking the ropes down to the crate. I'll show you that in a minute. There's the actual crate, look, complete with screws and wall plugs, and that fixes on the wall at the far end so that you can tie the rope off. Good quality rope that. I think it's what they use in yachting. That's a 10-metre length, which should be plenty for what I want to do. And again, the cast iron fittings for the actual pulley, that's one either end, and the lats fit between the two. So you've got everything you need. Instructions, plus there's if you go on the cast iron website, they've got videos on there, so that if you're unsure of how to fix it, there's plenty of information both on the instructions themselves and also on the video on cast iron's website. Tools required: you want a drill, preferably a portable drill so you haven't got wires trailing about, 5mm drill to pre-drill the holes for the pulleys to screw in. If you'll notice, the pulleys have got a screw end on them, look, there. But you'll see that in the instructions anyway. Pre-drill the holes first and then screw the pulleys in. My particular Kitchen Maid is going on this beam here, which I'm lucky really, with it being an old cottage. I don't have plasterboard ceilings, I just have the beam ceiling, so it was easy for me to decide which beam I'm going to use for the Kitchen Maid pulley. So I'll get on with putting the pulleys in, and then we'll go on to the next stage. Right, so here we are back again, and as you can see, there's one crate. That's a single one, farthest away from the crate. There's a double, another double, which the cord comes down to fix on the crate, which I've already put on. No difficulty apart from when I was putting that roller in, there must have been a knot in the wood, so it was a bit difficult to tighten up, but nevertheless I had a little rest And the other thing, when you're tightening the rollers into the beams, I put my gloves on because it gives you more grip. And you know, sometimes if you come across a difficulty like I had, you just get an extra bite on the roller while you're screwing it in. And the other thing that, as it recommends in the instructions, I just put a couple of drops of washing up liquid on the end of the thread. Once you've pre-drilled the holes, just gives it makes it a little bit easier to start you off. But other than that, no problems at all. Next job is to thread the rope through. Again, so in the instructions, and I suggest you have a look on the video on the cast iron website to find the best way of threading up. So I'll come back to you once I've threaded the ropes up. Right, back again. As you can see, I've got the pulley ropes threaded through. So you can see there, I've ended up with 2 singles, one for each of the cast iron fittings. So I've got 2 of these. All I've got to do now is tie these on. One either end on the single rope, and tie them off, tie the end up, and then we're all set for levelling up. And all that means, of course, is when you've got one of those at each end, next job is to thread or rather put the wood slats through the gaps in the cast iron fittings, making sure that they're both horizontal when you do so, obviously. Again, I've got the easy job really, because I'm going to line mine up with the fireplace, so that once I've tied the rope off, I can level it up using my level, using that as a guide for making sure that it's horizontal. But I'll tie them off, put the straps through, and you'll see how I get on then. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Right, so there we are. I've threaded the rope up, put the straps through, and what I did was, when I trimmed the rope at the end after I'd tied the knot in the castings, a couple of half hitches in there, and then I snipped it off to about 2 or 3 inches to get rid of the frayed ends, and just to finish it off a little bit better, I put some gaffer tape around the end bits, so that, you know, it just leaves a nice neat finish on there. I've taken it up now to its the height that it's going to remain at, and it just so happens that the tape, I think, is, what's that, 2 inch gaffer tape, and so I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the end of the gaffer tape is just below the roller, so that's more or less the level, I think. But I'll have a fiddle about with it and get it so that the actual whole thing is horizontal before I adjust the rope length. You get quite a lot of rope, you know, so there's enough there to go on to the next stage, which is to just tie the two ropes off in a knot, so that once you've got it horizontal, because the two ropes are fixed with that knot, it's going to remain horizontal however many times you pull it up and down. And then all that you've got to do then is to trim the excess rope off, and then where the knot is positioned on there, you can just use that as a hook when you're pulling it up or down. If the knot's there, for instance, you can just hook the loop over the crate instead of doing what I've done there just for the time being. I've wrapped it 2 or 3 times around the crate while I've got it to the right position. So I'll come back to you in a minute when I've finished doing that. Right, so there we are. Kitchen Maid's up. I've adjusted the ropes. I've put 2 knots in. That's that knot which puts a brake basically on the Kitchen Maid, so you can just swap that over the crate and it'll stay put. When you're lowering it down, just be careful to watch out that the 2 ropes are running in the pulley alright until you get to the next knot which I've put in, and you can put that on the crate as well, and it puts a brake on the Kitchen Maid while you load it up. So job done. I'm pretty chuffed with it. And oh, by the way, I got the cast iron parts. You can choose a colour. I was going to get the I think it's anthracite grey, but they didn't have them in stock, so I went for the French grey, which is what these are. But very useful bit of kit for Hedgehog Cottage, I must say. The fire is a closed fire, so it's going to come in very handy for especially bath towels and bedding, for airing them when the weather's inclement like it is at the moment. So during summertime, if you're not using it at all, you can put fresh herbs on there, peg fresh herbs on, or flowers to dry off, you know, that kind of thing. With Hedgehog Cottage, it's an old cottage, beam ceiling, so it's just the job, it's just what I wanted. So I could recommend for you to have a look at their website, casting style. I'll leave the link under the video, but yeah, excellent service all round, I think. So thanks for watching, and now I can load this up with towels and bedding.